Bror Fredrik coming at you with another episode of Hey Bror Fredrik. On today's episode, I'm going to tell you about the time that a casino owner gave me $50,000 to play craps. For those of you new to the channel, again, my name's Bror Fredrik, local Las Vegas-based photographer, videographer, cinematographer, and part-time philosopher. We're cruising down the Las Vegas Strip. It is a beautiful Monday morning at 10 a.m., 79 degrees. We're having a little heat spell. It's normally not 80 degrees. It's going to be 85 today in November. It's usually in the upper 60s, low 70s, so this is a bit unusual, but it's absolutely beautiful. Check out those clouds in the sky. We always have those bluebird skies, so when we see these clouds, I get excited. It just adds a whole nother dimension. Feels like you can almost touch them. So you're here for the story of how a casino owner gave me $50,000 to play craps. And we're gonna get into it right after this. So this story takes place at Caesar's Palace. It was a Saturday night. I'm playing craps. I love playing craps at Caesar's. There's just a level of excitement there. Being down in the pit, the way that they treat everyone, they just treat you like absolute gold. Now, it was a $25 table, which means that the minimum pass line bet, for those of you who follow along, is $25 and up. Not the cheapest table. There's tables that you could play 5, there's tables that you could play 10, and on some occasions there's even tables you could play 2 and 3, you know, in some of the more sketchy locations, but it was a $25 table. And this is in the day, and this isn't that long ago. This is back in the day when you went to Caesar's Palace, even to play craps, you put on a sport coat at the bare minimum. So, you know, it had an air of sophistication. If you were somewhat a regular, they knew what you drink. They knew what cigar you smoked. They knew how you liked everything, what section of the table you preferred to stand at, and they would hold it for you. There was a level of service, especially for locals at Caesar's, and there still is, that was no other property was coming close at the time. So I'm at this $25 table, and it didn't start out at a 10. They went straight into 25. And back then, you know, this is going back a few years. Back then, people didn't even show up to play, to game, to come out until like 10 or 11 o'clock. That was normal back then. You started your night at, say, like 9, 10 o'clock easily, wherever you went. That's just how the town ran. It was more of a 24-hour experience than it is now. So 9 o'clock was early. So I'm there fashionably late. Maybe it's about 10 o'clock. So I'm waiting for the dice to get around to me because I love throwing. I'm a dice setter. I've practiced dice setting for years. Some people think it's, you know, BS, but the casinos don't think it's BS because they want you to slam the dice off the back wall so they scatter everywhere. So the goal of a dice setter is to launch them in such a fashion that they drop just before the wall and give it a little of a kiss. So I can't wait to get my hands on the dice, and I think I had about between $2,000 and $3,000 in front of me at this table, because that's kind of what you need to play at a $25 table. Well, maybe $1,000, but you know, that doesn't give you enough. So you always bankroll according to what the table limits are. So I had around, let's call it $2,500. And in walks a very famous casino owner. I'm not going to name this person. You could kind of guess in the comments if you want, but you know, it is what it is. So this person walks in with their entourage, and right away security comes out, head pit boss comes out. What a beautiful view. Look at that. And he's getting treated. He's getting his butt kissed, just like we were getting our butt kissed, but on a little higher level. So he wants to play at this table, and being that it was only 10 o'clock, I don't think there was, 8 or 9 people there. There was probably about 6. So he wants to play at this table, but he also wants his crew to play. So they call on my table because it's it has the fewer people on it at the moment, and that's where he's going to play. So right away, security comes out of nowhere. I mean, they just surround this table. Then they get out the velvet ropes, and they put velvet ropes around this table. And I'm just like, whoa, okay. This ought to be fun. Never met the guy before, but I think we'll have a good time. Until they changed the placard on the table from green, which indicates it's a $25 table because green chips are $25, and they swap it out for a black placard and slide that into the little holder at the table, indicating it's now a $100 minimum bet table. And everyone's in a little bit of a dismay. Everyone wanted to play. There's some people who could hang with $100, and at $2,500, I could have probably hung 2, and I planned on it because I was 1 away from getting the dice. And if I'm gonna roll, I'm gonna bet my own roll pretty heavy. So I was kind of excited about that. But $100 is $100. That's per bet. So on a typical roll, I could have the whole $2,000 out on the table. So we're all looking, figuring out what's going to go on, and the pit boss announces that the table is now $100. And there was people there who would just, they weren't sufficiently bankrolled, and maybe they had $300, $200, $400 in front of them, and they're betting 25 here and there on random, 6s and 8s, well, 30 on random 6s and 8s and 5 and 9s, quarters, stuff like that. And that's what their bankroll could handle at that time. So they weren't about playing no $100. So a few of them just said, I'm out of here. A couple of them complained, they were a little dicky about it, but it is what it is. So I planned on staying around because I'm waiting, I got the dice up next. So I said, I'm going to see if I get a hand going here. So this casino owner looks at me and he says, you sticking around? And I says, yeah, I'm sticking around. I think we're going to head downtown during this story. I'm enjoying this drive. I hope you are too. And enjoying the story, of course. So I says, yeah, I'm going to stick around. I said, it's my hand next, so yeah, I'll stick around for this. And people are complaining, and one of the guys says, yeah, I think I'll stick around too. Now, he had, I think, 5 people with him. So between him and his crew and me and this other guy, the table was now full. And I'm on the long end of the table waiting for the dice. But it's a whole big deal because the hosts are coming out, the pit bosses are coming out, a floor manager came out, and he's setting himself up money. Now, you can ask, why in the world is a casino owner playing at Caesars? Because here, you're not allowed to play at your own casino. You're just not. If you own, a casino, you can't play at it. There's gaming laws and things like that. So, getting back to the story. So, he calls for racks. They come out again with security, but these security were armed. They come out with a rolling cart with racks. And he motions me, the casino owner motions me. He gives me 2 fingers, he motions me over, and we cleared the table, and we did this in an aisle. What he did was, he gave $50,000. What he did was he gave $50,000 all in black chips in racks to every single person at that table, including myself and the other guy. And I already had the $2,000. And what he says is, whatever you lose, you lose. You're going to hang out with me tonight. Whatever you win past the $50,000, you can keep. Just give me back my 50, or if you go under, whatever the case may be, just give it back. Now, there is probably, before we start this game, $500,000 on this table. So it turned into a fun night. So I get the dice. I had a pretty good hand, I think. I mean, don't hold the gun to my head, but I think I made 3 or 4 passes, which are good for, quite a substantial amount. Now, I'm a cautious, kind of a pattern better. I know exactly what I'm going to do, when I'm going to take down my bets, when I'm going to push them, but everyone else, it's free money, so they were like pressing everything, and, they didn't really rake off the table, because they pressed and pressed and pressed and pressed, and ultimately, the 7's going to come out, and it's all going to go away. But everyone was having fun. We're talking cigars and drinks and bottles and treated like royalty. So it was a lot of fun. So at the end of the night, I was up, I think a hair, but not counting my own money, I think I profited a little over $3,000, $3,800, if my memory is correct. So I gave him back the entire racks. I gave it all back to him, because I wasn't going to be like, hey, well, you told me, and skim my money off. That's not what I was there to do. I thought it was extremely gracious that instead of having me kicked off the table, he wanted me to enjoy the night with him. So I didn't automatically grab that 3,000 plus. I just gave it back to him, and he's like, well, take what's yours. So I did. You don't have to tell me twice, but I wasn't going to do it right off the bat. So what that led to, and this was about 1 o'clock in the morning, that led to, again, a Saturday night, a weekend of hanging out at the guy's penthouse with his crew, with his people, driving a Lamborghini. I mean, it was just it was exciting. It was a level that obviously, I don't do every day, and it was fun. And we maintained this friendship for a couple of months. Friendships like that, they don't last forever, because, I'm not poor by any means, but I'm not in the, hey, we're heading to Cabo on Thursday, you coming or what? I'm not in that level. So once that starts happening, and I'm not gonna, I'm not a hanger-oner, I'm sure that if I said sure, maybe I would have got my way paid or whatever, but that's just not how I roll. So after you turn down Cabo and you turn down, Hawaii and various trips for a month or two, they kind of, forget your name. But it was a fun evening. It was an exciting couple of months that I got to see how people with that level of money enjoy themselves. A bit frivolous, but at the same time, it was fun. I've been around a lot of wealthy people. I've photographed a lot of the rich and famous, and I don't want to name drop, but eventually I will. I've had experiences in this town that, would make some people's heads explode. I hung out with James Brown 2 weeks before he died. I was his personal photographer, and I captured all the moments in his life right before he died. And, so I've been around, so I'm not overly impressed by status or fame or wealth or anything like that. But to have a true glimpse inside how the ultra wealthy live and conduct themselves and spend money and things like that, that I can say was a memorable experience. I wanted to share that with you. So I hope you enjoyed that story on this episode of Hey Bror Fredrik, and trust me, I got tons more. This is what I always say, this traffic, once you hit the wind, is just freaking bonkers. Oh, now we're stuck. I might have to tell you guys another story. My goodness. And this is going to go on to the year 2023. This is going to be a 3-year construction project. Oh my goodness. Anyway, I want to thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed all the views, all the sights, and the stories. If you got a question, or if you have a topic that you wanted me to discuss on an episode of Hey Bror Fredrik, and I'm starting a new version, which is Man Up Mondays, the fine art of being a man and being a gentleman. Those are going to be Monday episodes, and I'm going to drop one today, in fact. So put that in the comment, makes for good content. I might make it happen. And I'm going to drop the 9% word of the day right now. Bam, right there. That'll let me know that you stuck around to the very end. drop that phrase in the comment. Lets YouTube know. Grows our channel, grows the Bror Nation. If you'd like to support my efforts here on YouTube, go in the comments. You'll see links to my Patreon, which I'd greatly support. All that money goes right back into the show. There's links to a reading list that I recommend, some men care stuff, bunch of good stuff. So if you want to support me with that, that'd be wonderful. I'm also I'm talking with a couple of major travel sites. I'm not going to name them yet, to give me actual coupon and discount codes for flights and hotels. Yes, I'll make a couple bucks off that. Nothing wrong with that. Don't hate on me for that. But it'll knock your prices down tremendously too. So I'll announce those partnerships when that drops. And on that note, as I sit in traffic, Bror Fredrik out.